The Mammoth is back, but this time it's not quite so woolly, because if you complete skill mode in one of the New Horizon realms, you can go ahead and grab yourself the Hennessey Mammoth. Again, not to be confused with the woolly mammoth. Its official name is the 2022 Hennessey Mammoth 1000 6x6 TRX. Now I've got to say, it does look pretty cool, and the stats are pretty cool too, because this thing boasts a whopping 1000 brake horsepower from stock, 969 foot-pounds of torque, and it weighs an outstanding 7,850 pounds. This thing is very, very heavy indeed. And I've got to say, it looks evil. Absolutely evil. I've got to say, I do like how it looks at the front. Going to the side, it does look pretty cool as well, especially with the extra wheel at the back. And then right at the back, it just looks like your average Ram Rebel. Going to the inside, there's a load of buttons at the top there, just above the rearview mirror. We've got plenty of stuff on the screen in front of us, just below the rearview mirror. We've also got some dials and gauges as well. And now let's go ahead and take a listen to this thing. So here we are now over in the upgrade shop. We're going to jump straight to conversions to see what we have for this thing. We have some engine slots available. We have a whopping 3. We have ourselves a racing V6 twin turbo. We have ourselves the 8.9 litre V8 dual supercharged engine and the 7.4 litre V8 twin turbo, boasting an amazing 1,750 brake horsepower. If you want to, you can also go ahead and make this thing rear wheel drive. I mean, I don't know why you would, but now you can. As for aero and appearance, we do have a few categories to this thing. So going to the front, we have the option to change out that massive little bull bar at the front for, I guess, nothing. Okay, not quite nothing, for a different style front bumper, but you get the idea. Going over to the back, we can also go ahead and chuck in, I guess, like a few little supports, some extra lights and a tyre. Going to the back bumper, we have the option just to change up to make it look, I guess, just normal like the front. Going to the side skirts, we have a couple options. We have the option for just a little side step and I guess a slightly bigger side step too. So to be honest, I guess you can make this thing look pretty cool. In the meantime, our wonderful mechanic Mac has been very busy putting together this Baja spec tune. So let's go ahead and bring up the share code very, very quickly. There it is. Feel free to grab it for yourself. We're going to go ahead, download and install and see what we can do. And so by looks of things, we're kicking off already with that stupid amount of power because this thing weighs nearly 8,000 pounds, but somehow it's still at the top of A-class. So let's give it a go. So here we are now over in the paint shop. The first thing I've got to do is, well, I was going to try and zoom out, but this thing is way too big to actually fit in the camera frame. That is mad. Anyway, going over to advanced, we have a couple options. Paint group number 1 is the main body of this thing. And what is paint group number 2? Let's go ahead and take a look. Is it the other like little, I guess, plasticky bits? It is. It is just, I guess, like that bit there. Is there anything else? Nope, just that bit. For manufacturer colours, we have ourselves 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different colours to go with. And I actually kind of like the orange. Now, I've not even seen one of these things in person. I really wish I could, because honestly, it looks absolutely fantastic and kind of a little bit scary because it's absolutely huge. But I did a little bit of extra research, and apparently the 1000 in this thing's name is due to the 1000 horsepower it has from stock. And away we go. We've got a little bit of anti-lag in this thing. We've got a lot of power. This thing is still very heavy, but I'm hoping, just hoping that power and torque might just be enough to try and win us this race. Let's be fair, we're up against, I think, a Mercedes G-Wagon, an old Land Rover, and a couple others, so I don't think there's much competition. Right, on the brakes, can we dive underneath them? I hope we can, and we have. We're just going to ignore the slight clonk of the wall. Let's be fair, if you clonk a wall in this thing, I think the wall's just going to be in bits. Now, I've got to say, these things are very interesting indeed, especially when you look into the stats further. Because if you wanted one of these things, you'd have to be very quick, as they've only made 200 of these absolute behemoths. Also, by the way, that's first place. Thank you, Jeep. Out of my way. And if you're able to purchase one of these things, you better have a lot of money ready because these things are estimated to be around 450,000 US dollar, which is this in pound sterling, by the way. And that price covers pretty much everything. This thing, all the modifications, and the original cost of the Ram Rebel TRX used to build this thing. Hennessey have also been talking to a couple of car magazines, and they reckon that if you wanted to have one of these things in the UK, and you wanted to have it like properly imported and everything, it would cost you mainly around £450,000 sterling. So imagine the price from earlier, but with import tax and VAT. Either way, at nearly £8,000, this thing is not stopping, and across the line it goes with a beautiful first place, plenty of space behind us, and a time of 2 minutes 23. So it's a very fun race indeed, and now we're jumping over to the Horizon backstage, because this week, for the votes, we have ourselves the Toyota Sports 800 and the Porsche Amore 356C versus the Lancia Fulvia and the Porsche 550. It's going to be very interesting indeed, but I think I'd rather vote for the Toyota Sports 800, just because I've not seen that thing come back yet. For context, by the way, that car's only ever been seen in one series. Do you agree? Let me know in the comments. In the meantime, Mac has been very busy trying to make this thing a drag build. As we can see at the top left, it says in brackets failed drag build, which means it's going to be very interesting indeed. But we are going to go ahead, bring up that tune very quickly. Feel free to go ahead and grab that. There's the share code for it. We're going to go ahead and download it ourselves and try and see just how well this thing can quote drag race. So with these upgrades, we now have the same amount of power, but we are a lot lighter at just a shade under 5,680 pounds. Right, so here we are now over at the back of the Festool. Let's go ahead and see if we get a little bit of a wheelie check out of this thing. Honestly, nothing, but I would have been very surprised if this thing could start wheeling, especially considering it's so heavy. But I've got a feeling this thing's rear-wheel drive. You know what, Super 7 card? I think I might. Let's go ahead and get ourselves on launch control of this thing, and away we go with an attempted drag run of the Hennessey Mammoth Rebel TRX 1006 by 6. Very long name. It's actually kind of a struggle to remember it all, I can't lie. But going up to here and then going through the camera at 168, and what do we get off the end of the drag strip? What do we get? We get ourselves 185 and no brakes. To be fair to this thing, I'm not surprised. Anyway, now it's our turn to go ahead and have a go with this interesting thing. We're going to jump straight to conversions, going over to engine swaps. We're shoving in at the 1,750 brake horsepower, and this time we're going to leave it all-wheel drive just so we can stay on the road. And of course, you know we got to go with anti-lag, and we are definitely making this thing lighter. Okay, so let's just upgrading this thing, and I've noticed it's got a side-mounted exhaust. Hold on, let me try and zoom in on this. That's cool, I like that. Now, unfortunately, we can't change the tyre type on here, but we can also go ahead and change the rear tyre profile size and the front tyre profile size. But I think just for the sake of trying to drive this thing, we're going to keep it as it is. You know what? Yeah, that looks alright. However, now we've thrown all that power in, we've got to go ahead and try and tune a 6x6. Something I've not done yet. I know, over 3 years of playing this, and I've not tuned a 6x6 till now. In the meantime though, let's go ahead and take a look at this week's Forzathon shop, and it's a good one this week because for 900 Forzathon points you can grab yourself the Toyota Terreno. We also have ourselves a backstage pass, we have ourselves a face mask here, the Porsche Panamera Turbo, the Tiger Raw car horn, which sounds a bit like this. Very interesting indeed. We also have ourselves the Horizon Super Wheelspin and the regular Horizon Wheelspin as well. And now, out on the motorway. Also, side note, I've come out of the festival and of course it's raining. You know, I am a Brit after all. Maybe it's just trying to help me feel at home. In the meantime, let's go ahead now and play one of our favourite games each video of how close do we get to the motorway grate. And today we've parked, well, quite a fair ways back from it. Anyway, we're now at the edge of the motorway. It is chucking it down. Let's get ourselves onto launch control and away we go. Nearly 1,800 horsepower, 5,680 pounds of this. I mean, after all, what could possibly go wrong? For the love of everything, please don't answer that question. Either way, out of the speed zone we go at 210.12, which for this thing is quite honestly scary, but we still got the downhill and speed camera to go. Could we get even quicker? Well, let's go find out. Any second we should see, there's the camera, 209.81, we actually got slower. Going downhill, 214, 215, 216, 217, do we get any quicker? 218 miles an hour out of this thing. All right, where's our usual motorway sign? There it is, on the brakes we go. Can we get this thing to have a decent stopping distance? I heavily doubt it, although, to be fair, that's not half bad. Now, we've got one more thing left to do, but this time we've got a little extra change. And that change is in the form of an extra tune from the wonderful mechanic Mac. So let's go ahead, bring up the share code of that one very quickly. There it is, feel free to grab it for yourself. It is a drift tune made specifically for us to try out for this video. So let's see if it's any good. You know, I just thought, this thing feels rear wheel drive and we're in the rain. This is either going to go great or horribly. So here's our little drift zone. Here is our very big Hennessey Mammoth. We're going to go ahead, chuck this thing in, see what we can do. Remember, 30,000 is usually kind of our go-to, our mark of if anything's good or not. And it so far seems that this thing has excelled, 36,664. I just wish the ground was a bit drier. In the meantime, here we go for round number 2. I've got to start this little bit of drifting very early because the Mammoth is absolutely huge. I mean, just look at this thing. It is massive. Going out the other side of the drift zone at 38,389 points. And for the eagle-eyed of you, that means you've done better than round number 1. And to be honest, that kind of intrigues and concerns me, because I mean, look at this thing, it's massive. It's somehow keeping up with some of my better drift car scores. Either way, that is the Hennessey Mammoth 6x6 1000 TRX, or whatever the title is. It's a very long name. And I've got to say, what an interesting vehicle this thing is. Whether it's going to be any good for like online racing or drifting, I don't really know. I guess that's kind of down to the driver to make their own choice. But I've got to say, if you do want something just as like a little statement piece, or something for maybe even some car shows, then this is certainly quite the vehicle to get, and it doesn't even cost you anything because, as I mentioned at the start of this video, this thing is an Accolade Reward for Horizon Realms, and Horizon Realms was a free edition. So you're not losing anything, but you're gaining two pretty cool things. However, though, that is this video on this absolutely massive thing. Thank you very much for watching. Feel free to go ahead and like, share, comment, subscribe, all that cool stuff. And of course, if you have one of these things, let me know what you think. But in the meantime, thanks for watching. Tech out. See ya! Of course, the sun appears after I finish filming.